want a Michelin star. $425 a seat, booked out 4 months. On a good year, the owner keeps 3%. The star? It makes you more likely to close. Not less. More likely. Because the star has a price list, and your city already paid it. Sounds simple. It is not. This is marked up. Here is what nobody puts in the business plan. Step 1. The thing nobody tells you. Michelin is a tire company. That is not a joke. In 1900, France had fewer than 3,000 cars. Roads were bad, petrol was scarce, and nobody had a reason to leave town. So two tire brothers printed a little red book and gave away 35,000 copies. Where to eat, where to sleep, where to fill up. Drive more, wear your tires out, buy more tires. The first star was handed out in 1926. To sell tires. A century later, that is still who owns the thing you are chasing. And Michelin does not simply show up in your town anymore. American cities pay it to come. Virginia was quoted $360,000 to be in the Michelin Guide to the South. $120,000 a year for 3 years. Virginia said no. Its tourism office called that responsible stewardship of taxpayer money. And Virginia's price was the discounted one. Other southern states were quoted 3 times that. The states that said yes pay far more. Louisiana, the Carolinas, and Tennessee. $350,000 a year, each. 5 Texas cities put in $2.7 million over 3 years. Boston paid over $1 million. The money came off a surcharge on hotel rooms. A traveler pays a hotel tax. The board pays a tire company. The tire company sends inspectors. So before you plate a single dish, somebody has already bought the right to have you judged. The star has a price. It is just never on your bill. Step 2. Survive the buy-in. A fine dining room costs $750,000 to $1.5 million to open. That is before a single chair, a single plate, or a single hire. The build-out alone runs $300 to $1,000 a square foot. A 3,000 square foot room at $500 a foot is $1.5 million on its own. Hood systems, gas lines, a walk-in fridge, millwork nobody will ever look at twice. Then add 15 to 25% on top for architects, engineers, and permits. And you pay rent through every month of it. 6 months of build is 6 months of rent on a room earning nothing. By the night you serve your first table, you are already $1 million in. And a seat at Per Se sells for $425. 9 courses. A Linea in Chicago runs $245 to $395. The French Laundry for $25 to $600. A 40-seat room, 1 seating a night, is about $17,000 on a full Saturday. 5 full nights a week is $85,000 through the till. The owner's 3% of that is about $2,500. And almost nobody funds a room like this alone. The name above the door usually owns a slice of it, not the building. The wine pairing adds another $165 to $225 per person. That sounds like a lot of money. Watch where it goes. Food is 28 to 35% of every dollar. Labor is another 30 to 35. Together, that is prime cost. Keep it under 65% or you are already losing. Your cooks are not getting rich either. The national average for a restaurant cook is $37,700. Chefs and head cooks average $64,700. 3% of $425 is about $13. That is the owner's cut of the entire dinner. Step 3. Where the money really is. So where does a starred restaurant actually earn? Not on the plate, on the glass. Fine dining marks wine up 3 to 400% over wholesale. Casual restaurants stop at 2 to 3. Wine runs 70 to 80% gross margin. Cocktails, 75 to 85. Food, at its very best, gives back 65 to 70. An $18 cocktail holds about $2.50 of ingredients. The other $15.50 is rent, labor, and the license, which is exactly why the wine list is longer than the menu. In the best rooms, drink reaches 40% of everything that comes through the door. So the food is not the product. The food is the advertisement. The food earns the star. The star fills the room. And the room drinks. That is the actual business. There is also a reason the tasting menu exists, and it is not an artistic one. One menu, one price, one seating. You know every cover you will serve before the day starts. So you buy exactly what you need, staff exactly what you need, and throw almost nothing away. Which means the number that decides your year is not food cost. It is how many nights you fill. One slow Tuesday never averages out. Half a room on a Tuesday is $8,000 that never comes back. You are not selling dinner. You are selling one seat, for one sitting, that expires at midnight. Step 4. Pay the middlemen. Now meet everybody who gets paid before you do. Delivery apps advertise 15 to 30% commission. Ad processing, the promotions they require, and the refunds you eat. On a 3% margin, a 35% commission means every delivery order loses money. 30 to 40% of the order, on a business that keeps 3. Then the reservation book. Open table is $149 to $499 a month. That is before anybody has sat down. Plus up to $1.50 for every guest their network seats. Every guest, every night. Ressay charges a flat $249 to $899 a month, no per cover fee. On a full room, that gap is real money. Card processing takes 2 to 4% of every check. It is now the third biggest expense in a restaurant, after food and labor. The landlord takes 6 to 10% of gross sales, usually written as percentage rent. So a good year raises your rent automatically. So take the $425 check. Subtract food, labor, rent, and the card. And every one of them gets paid before you do. And the biggest middleman of them all never even sends you an invoice. Your city already settled that bill, $350,000 a year, out of a hotel tax nobody itemizes. Step 5. Don't die. Here is the part that should genuinely scare you. A first star lifts business about 20%. 2 stars, 40. 3 stars, 100. And you can charge more. 15% more with 1 star, 55 with 2, 80 with 3. So you hire. You buy better product. You lift the whole room to match the badge. Then the rush normalizes. The cost base does not. That is the trap. And somebody measured it. University College London tracked New York restaurants for 19 years. More than 40% that won a Michelin-Star had closed. Of the restaurants that never got a star, about 20% closed. Same city, same years, same kind of restaurant. The award roughly doubled the odds of dying. Why? The owners explained it themselves. Your cooks use the star to leave or to open the place across the street. Your landlord, your suppliers, and your staff all reprice you the week it is announced. Your regulars get replaced by people who came for the badge, want bigger tables, and do not spend more. They photograph the room, take the cheapest option on the menu, and never come back. More cost, no more revenue. In 2024, the restaurant most people called the best in the world shut its dining room. Noma, 3 stars. Its chef said the model was unsustainable. Financially and emotionally, he said, it just does not work. Noma had run on unpaid interns working 16-hour days. It started paying them. 3 months later, it announced it would close. The best restaurant in the world could not make the numbers work once it paid everyone. And you cannot hand it back. Not the star, and not the 80% price premium you built the whole room around. In 2017, Sebastian Braz asked Michelin to leave his 3-star restaurant out of the guide entirely. Inspectors were arriving unannounced 2 or 3 times a year, forever. Michelin agreed. First time it ever had. Then it put him back in the guide 2 years later anyway, with 2 stars. You do not get to resign from the rating. And it runs the other way too. The star was never yours to keep. In November 2025, Michelin took a 3rd star off Alinea, Masa, and the Inn at Little Washington. All on the same night. Decades of 3-star cooking. One announcement. For context, 26% of independent restaurants fail in the first year. 19% more in year 2, 14% in year 3. 57 to 61% gone inside 3 years. That is the baseline. That is without a star on the door. Step 6. Was it worth it? If that landed, the like button is free, and it is the only thing that gets this in front of anyone. So why does anybody still do this? Because the dining room is not the asset. The star is. A star converts into the things that actually pay. The name, the group, the hotel deal, the book, the room proves you can do it. Everything else is where you get paid for having proved it. The dining room is a 3% margin marketing department for the brand you build on top of it. A star buys attention that no advertising budget on earth could buy you. And none of that ever shows up in the 3%. And for some owners, that is not even the point. Being the person whose room people wait 4 months to sit in, for a certain kind of owner, that is the whole return. So, still want one? If this is your kind of arithmetic, I ran the same numbers on a hotel. And on a super yacht. Both are on the channel. Marked up. Every number in this one has a source, and they are all in the description. $425 a seat. About 13 of it is yours.